The Celtics make a big move as they call up recent draft pick Jordan Walsh from the Maine Celtics to the big club. Could we see Jordan Walsh start to get some significant playing time for Boston? I'll be diving into those possibilities, plus Kristaps Porzingis shares an injury update on his Instagram, and you'll want to hear all about that all on this episode of Celtics Digest. But before we get into the video, a reminder, as always, guys, to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We got daily Boston Celtics content, lots of news videos, post-game reactions, anything like that, everything Boston Celtics here at Celtics Digest. So if that's interesting to you and you enjoy the videos we put out, hit the subscribe button. You won't regret it. Let's jump into this, and I was super excited when I saw this. This is just recent, a few hours old. The Celtics call up Jordan Walsh. Just flash up the tweet. And look, Jordan Walsh wasn't getting as much playing time as a lot of us maybe would have wished with the Boston Celtics. Of course, he looked so good in Summer League, and with the practices and all the stuff that we saw about Jordan Walsh screamed, wow, this guy is very solid, especially defensively. I mean, he has a unique look, and he hounds the ball. Like, everything about him made him a fan favorite very quickly, but he's yet to really find his footing with the Celtics, and the reason is, at least in my opinion, he's still quite raw. And I think he needed some time in the G League to really start to figure out his game, right? Like, he's not the world's best shooter. He's able to hit the three-point shot, that's for sure. But to see if he can do it consistently at an NBA level with NBA level defenses, that's still yet to be seen for Jordan Walsh. But what we do know is his defense is phenomenal, and he's starting to really show his scoring touch in the G League. Check out his G League stats. Jordan Walsh so far for the Maine Celtics, averaging 15 points a game, 6.2 rebounds, 2.3 assists, and what's not shown here is that he's also averaging 1.7 steals per game in the G League. So, I mean, Jordan Walsh is kind of doing everything we wanted him to do, even 2.5 assists a game down there in the G League. While, yes, maybe some stats are inflated for NBA level guys, 1.7 steals no matter what is very good, and he passes the eye test. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I haven't watched a bunch of full Maine Celtics games. I'm sure a lot of you have, so if you have, I'd love to hear your comments about what you've seen from Jordan Walsh down below in the G League. But from what I've seen of him, he really looks very confident down there, and I think that's a big thing for him as well. Like, we know he's definitely not, at least at this level yet, he's not like an ISO scorer. He's not a primary go-to scoring guy, and I don't think he'll ever necessarily be that at the NBA, but that's not what the Boston Celtics need from him. What we need from him is to figure out how to get to his spots, whether that's the three, if he develops his shot a bit more, or these back cuts, he's, slashing around the court. That's something he really showed he's good at, and he had lots of very nice athletic plays, dunks like that in Summer League, in the G League. So I think Jordan Walsh's future with the Celtics is really if you were to say in baseball, almost like a five-tool guy, right? He's able to rebound the ball at a very high level. He is an elite defender, has potential to be an elite NBA level defender, and a guy that can guard pretty much 1 through 5 if you need him to. He's a good shot blocker. He's even better at getting steals so far, but he's also able to handle himself around the rim, and he has upside on his three-point shot. So now let's come to the fact, like, will he get playing time for the Celtics now? I don't know. He's definitely practicing with the Celtics. You got to know Joe Mazzulla and the Celtics staff, Brad Stevens, have all seen him a bunch, but the question is yet to be seen, right? Like, has he done enough to make his way onto the roster? And with Kristaps Porzingis going down with an injury, and we'll talk about him in just a minute, so stick around for that update. Maybe the Celtics were like, maybe it doesn't hurt to just see what Jordan Walsh can do. And because you look at some of the Celtics bench guys like Oshae Brissett, guys like Lamar Stevens, yes, they're more seasoned NBA guys. Yes, they're better shooters, and Oshae, especially, like, well, those offensive boards, I feel like we don't, he had a really hot start to the season, of course, Oshae Brissett, but like, that kind of style of player that we've seen the Celtics go to occasionally. I mean, no, I know now, it's like Sam Hauser, Payton, Pritchard, like, we have different guys, but to see Jordan Walsh, like, I don't see why he couldn't theoretically fit in that role if his game was a little bit more polished. And I think these stints in the G League are really going to help him polish his game a bit further, because the jump from college even to the G League is quite big, right? So just to get used to that speed, a lot of guys in the G League are fringe NBA or even former NBA guys or future NBA guys just like himself. So look, all things considered, I'm really hoping Jordan Walsh will get at least a shot to play maybe 5-10 minutes here that's maybe not in garbage time. It wouldn't shock me completely to see Jordan Walsh maybe get a couple minutes at the end of a quarter here and there if the Celtics really need a spark defensively. But at this point, in my opinion, that's about all we'll see him do. At the same time, you don't want to, throw the locker room into a fit, and I don't know if the Celtics do that, but you don't want, like, this conflict to arise if a rookie like Jordan Wall starts to get minutes over some veteran guys who maybe deserve it more, this kind of politicking stuff. But at the same time, he definitely has a lot he can bring to the table. I'm excited to see what the plans are for him, and it's really cool that they called him up, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see what this means. But let's jump into the Kristaps news. And look, it's good news. I'm sure a lot of you guys probably saw this, or maybe saw it coming from my tone earlier. But Kristaps Porzingis, it's not confirmed that he's totally good and going to play their next game. But take a look at what he posted on Instagram. He said, "Good news this morning. Be back very soon. Now cold tub time." I don't know what that last word is. I don't know if it's Latvian. I don't know if I'm missing it. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just out of touch. I'm not sure. Either. Maybe that's what it says. Not sure. But Kristaps Porzingis, he was going to have an MRI today, and I assume the good news was the MRI results came back negative. Now, what he said, I know a lot of people were out there complaining about the courts. Jaylen Brown has spoken out about the courts already. Kristaps said, "No, I didn't slip." He said he just felt a tweak, like when he was walking or running down the court, he just felt a little tweak. I think it was in his calf, at least some part of his lower leg. He said it just kind of tweaked on him, and that was really, really unfortunate. And yeah, he had to get an MRI just to confirm, and that's a bit scary because Kristaps Porzingis, what was the number one concern for pretty much everyone when the Boston Celtics went and traded for him? Well, it's his injury history. And not just his injury history, but his lower body injury history, right? He's had lower body issues, leg issues, knee issues in the past. And those kind of things, like those kind of injuries can manifest themselves in other ways, right? Maybe if you tear your ACL once, maybe that can lead to an ankle injury down the road or a hip injury, maybe in this case, a calf injury, right? We saw Kevin Durant's calf injury turn into an Achilles injury. There's a lot of links in the lower body because you start favoring one leg over the other, or, a bunch of different biomechanical functions. So you never really know. So when we saw this, right, we saw this calf strain versus the Orlando Magic and that brutal loss, we're like, it's happening. This is what we didn't want to have happen. This is what we were worried about for Kristaps Porzingis. But thankfully, he says he's all right. So MRI is negative. I'm assuming he's just going to be out until his leg is back to full strength. And I assume since he had an MRI, it wasn't just one of those things where it was a cramp or something really quick. I assume it's actually a strain. We haven't heard an official timeline yet, but hey, we got to hope that it's very short term. And it certainly seems like it's that way because Kristaps has been so good for the Boston Celtics this year. He has been kind of exactly what we needed in a lot of ways. He is that big man that we can go to, whether it's for scoring or for even more rebounding, more shot blocking at the rim, right? Of course, we had the likes of Robert Williams, Al Horford, good shot blockers at the same time, but Kristaps provides that offensive outlet, one of the most efficient post-up guys in the league so far. He brings a different dynamic to the Celtics offense, let alone his chemistry with Jaylen Brown in the pick and roll, and just in kind of everything, behind the back pass and the pick and roll. They have been showing out together, and Kristaps just brings that element of spacing combined with post-up game, combined with shot blocking. He is straight up one of the most versatile centers for his size in the entire NBA. Like, you talk about guys like Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama. I think Kristaps Porzingis is kind of the mold for these guys in a lot of ways. No, he doesn't handle the ball as well as maybe a Victor, or maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe he's not as athletic and fast as Chet. I don't really know, actually. I think Kristaps is kind of just a better Chet at this point. Maybe once Chet bulks up, maybe he'll end up having a better career than Kristaps. Who knows? But Kristaps is just so phenomenal. What he does at his size is amazing. And what he does for the Celtics is he makes them a championship contender because having that option, that guy who can be a third scoring option on a very, very good team is something that's, really, really, I don't want to say underrated, but it's something that every championship caliber team needs. And he goes out there and he's able to match up with the top bigs on other teams. You'll see him guarding Brook Lopez. You'll see him guarding Nikola Jokic. You'll see him guarding Joel Embiid for stretches, if it's not Jrue Holiday. But the thing is, he just does everything at such a high level, and super excited to hear that it's nothing serious. His MRI came back negative, and hey, really, really excited to see what he has left in the tank for this season. But that'll do it for this episode of Celtics Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, guys. We really appreciate all the support. We just passed 2,300 subs, but we're on the road to 25, and then 3,000, and then many, many more subs after that. I've been your host, Josh Gosse. I'll catch you in the next one.